down the rush like I've not felt before. I can trust myself. I need you to make it turn. I know. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same again. I could keep the light from turning into darkness. You'd be my escape. While we've been so easy to unfold, future might seem every time we're getting close. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same
You're streaming with the Fantasy Follow. The 2021 Fantasy Football Draft season is here. Tonight we've got a brand new show. We are live and it starts right now. It's a big day of football. You can do this. Make those good decisions. There's never a better time than this week. Welcome to TFF Live, and this is Mock Madness. Tonight we are here starting mock drafts. We're going to have 2 drafts tonight. In this show, we're going to do the 1.01 draft spot. As always, we are here to answer all of your questions throughout the night. We got our notification here about the live chat. The chat is open. The first draft will be just me drafting as a sample. We'll talk about draft strategy and answer your questions. The second draft is going to be a live viewer mock draft. You can sign up now. We have instructions for you here. I'm going to put them at the bottom of the screen. They will stay there for the entire show. You can sign up for that draft now. In the meantime, we'll get started with our first draft. Let's get right into it. And since this is live streaming, of course, this draft has started without me. So by all means, we're going to get right into it. I have the 1.01 pick. I took Christian McCaffrey with my first pick. Bad timing on my part with this draft starting a little faster than I expected it to, but nonetheless, we're here, we're in, and we're rolling, so we're only through the first round. Again, drafting 2 live drafts during this show. First one is a sample draft where I will go through both of them. I will be drafting, as you see on the left side of your screen, the 1.01 spot. The second live draft will be live viewer mock draft where you can join the draft. The instructions are at the bottom of the screen. We are drafting on Fantasy Pros. If you don't have an account with Fantasy Pros, we are not affiliated with them at all, but it's simply a good spot that I found to be able to set this up. You can sign up. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. I know I did this myself and checked it out. It's going to give you the option to input your name. You can input the same name as you have on your YouTube to match things up for us. But at any rate, this is why we're here tonight. We're here for mock drafts. We're doing 10-team PPR, pick 1.01, as you can see in the video box there. Christian McCaffrey, my pick. So let's go through and talk about what we've got so far in this draft. No surprises here. Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Zeke in 5th. The first wide receiver off the board is Devontae Adams, followed by Aaron Jones, then Austin Eckler. 2 more receivers, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs, are off the board. Saquon Barkley in the 10 spot, and that 10 drafter followed up with another running back in Jonathan Taylor. We're going to take a look at some of the average draft positions here during this first draft. We have some graphics prepared for you. Let's go ahead and put the first one up on the screen for you right now since we're talking about running backs. Taking a look at the current average draft positions in the running back spots. Again, no surprises here. Saquon Barkley has moved up this list just a little bit. He is up 1 spot since last week, and Jonathan Taylor is down 1 spot. We see Eckler going a little bit higher here with this being a PPR draft. But again, no real surprises here. Pretty much how we would expect it to be as we move into the second round. Again, drafting on the platform called Fantasy Pros tonight. The instructions are at the bottom of your screen as to how to sign up. This is the best way to do it through our Twitter account. We can then direct message you the link to where you can join. Pretty simple. We've tested this out beforehand. Again, this is a brand new show. No guarantees that it works out as well as we hope. But this is why we're live. For those of you that are regular viewers with us here, you know TFF Live, anything can happen. We've seen it before, and we'll probably see it again. Nonetheless, drafting right now in the 10-team PPR Live mock draft, this being the sample draft. We're looking at Travis Kelce, the first tight end up the board. No real surprises there. Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, Calvin Ridley, big names that you see coming up on my pick very shortly here. Looking at the players that I have available to me right now: Jefferson, Waller, Metcalf, Brown, Keenan Allen. You see those on the left side of your screen. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris. My tendency is to like to go with 2 running backs if I can off the top here. But we'll just see how that plays out. And as with all draft strategies, you really must be flexible going into these drafts. So I will be making 2 picks here, the second and the third round on the turn. And after I get those 2 picks in, I will discuss a little bit about my draft strategy and some of my thoughts. And certainly, like I always say, fantasy football is all about opinions. And by all means, I don't believe that I'm the only opinion out there. But I try to give you some information to back up my thoughts. All right, so looking at what we have here, no real running backs right up the top of the suggested players. I'm going to go ahead and go wide receivers here. I'm going to take DK Metcalf with my 2.10 pick here. I'm going to go ahead and back that up with another wide receiver. I'm going to bypass Darren Waller. A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen are both in play. I like both of these players. I personally like Keenan Allen a little bit better, so I'm going to go ahead and take him here. And again, his draft ADP right now, if I can pull it up on my screen. Let's go ahead and pull it up over here. Wide receiver drafts ADP right now. We see I took Metcalf at 21.8. And then I went ahead and I went with Keenan Allen, who's a little bit lower, but a guy that I like quite a bit, especially in a PPR format with all the targets that he sees. So Keenan Allen, a guy that I went ahead and I grabbed at that spot. All right, as we roll through the third round. All right, so let me discuss a little bit about how I take a look at these drafts here. This may fall in line with your thoughts. It may be a little bit different. But for me, I like to draft. My first 6 rounds are what I consider the core of my draft. I'm not really a guy that necessarily tries to draft a quarterback high or a tight end high unless they fall and I see some value there. I like to take those first 6 spots. For instance, in the league we're running tonight, it's 2 wide receiver, 2 running back with a flex. So basically the way I like to set up my draft is I like to take 1 more at each of those spots. If it's 2 wide receiver, 2 running back, I like to go 3 of each in my first 6 picks. That gives me some flexibility on bye weeks, protects me against some injuries. some choices with matchups. But for the most part, those are the players that are going to be the core of my team. Now, that's what I go into this with. Be flexible. If a quarterback drops and I feel like they need to slide into that top 6 or a tight end, I'll make those moves. But for the most part, my rounds 7 and 8, I go ahead and go with my quarterback and my tight end spots there as long as the value is right. And by all means, that's what we're looking for in value. And in those first 6 picks, I tend to try not to stray too far from whatever rankings you prefer, be it Yahoo or another platform. My feeling is once you get beyond those 6 picks that are your core, starting with like 7, 8, 9, going beyond 10, 11, whatever, you can then start to take a little bit more of a reach, start to look for flyers and sleepers as you have identified them throughout the draft. A good spot for you to kind of find really good value in your leagues and find those players that you want, especially if you're playing in multiple leagues, those first 6 spots, sticking within those rankings that you like. You may end up with slightly different teams from league to league, diversifies you just a little bit. And I tend to like to approach these leagues that way. So taking a look back over to our draft here, we are well into the 4th round now. We saw the 2nd tight end, Darren Waller, off the board in the 2nd pick of the 3rd round. I don't really see any real surprises there. Only 2 quarterbacks so far taken, that being Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. A couple of wide receivers that I like a lot, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb. Some of the next players up as we look towards my next pick. I'm probably going to try to see what's available there. Again, sticking with running back or wide receiver. A couple of running backs that I kind of like here. I see David Montgomery on the outlook there. He's not necessarily a guy that I love here. I don't know if I expect him to have the same production that he had last year. I do like Darrell Henderson, who was a little bit farther down that list. There's a real good chance that I go ahead and take 2 running backs right here in this spot if the right players are available. We will see what happens there. Again, let me go ahead and put the notification up for those of you watching. The live chat is open. We are here to answer your fantasy football questions all show long. Certainly plenty of content with these drafts, but we would much rather prefer to be talking with you than just talking to you. So by all means, if we're talking about something else, don't worry about it. Jump on in with that live chat question, and we will get to you as soon as we can. All right, looking back over at the draft board, Montgomery has gone off the board. The pick is over to me now. I see J.K. Dobbins, and no, I do not anymore. J.K. Dobbins has been taken, so that was going to be the person that I would actually select next. I feel like I need to get at least 1 running back in these next 2 picks here. I'm not going to go for a quarterback, even though there are some available. I'm going to go past that. I'm going to take Deontay Johnson as my pick at wide receiver. I like Deontay for the Steelers, certainly a PPR monster for that team. We expect them to have the similar passing volume as to last year. And then the next guy I'm going to pick is the guy that I said that I like. He's a little bit farther down, but I'm going to go for Darrell Henderson. I feel with the injury to Cam Akers there, Henderson is in line for a good amount of work with the Rams. Obviously, these are mock drafts. So part of the reason we do these is to kind of see how things play out on different tracks before we get to that actual draft as we start our season. So Henderson is a guy that I went with there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ADP and see where he would have fallen. I got him at the 1st pick of the 5th round, and see if I'm not even sure if Henderson is on this list. He is not. As we look at his ADP right now, he is at 44.6, averaging in the 5th round. So it's right about right. I kind of like where I got him there. I don't have a problem with that pick. And we'll see where it goes from there. Again, I could have probably gone for a quarterback there. We talked about this on our draft season kickoff show that we did last week. It's surprising to me how far Lamar Jackson is falling in the mock drafts that I've done so far. We will see what happens here as we move forward. But if there's a falling quarterback there, he has potential. Let's put up the quarterback ADPs as we have them right now. We see Murray goes off the board in this draft before Jackson. The guy that I've been seeing a lot here is Justin Herbert. He kind of fits my mode of drafting. His ADP at 60 right now, and I average a sixth round. As I said, my strategy is I like to get those first 6 rounds filling up my wide receivers and running backs. So that kind of leaves Justin Herbert right in line for where I like to pick players. There's a good chance that Justin Herbert ends up being the guy that I go for here unless somebody drops. A lot of picks left before we get back to me. And we will let you know if you are watching on the live chat. Obviously, as I said, go ahead and feel free to drop your questions. But if you're watching on replay, we would love to hear your comments. Feel free to drop us a comment below as we do these mock drafts. Let us know your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with some of these picks, players that you're getting. And also, any of you that are regulars that are watching, I would love to hear how your draft season is going so far. Let us know what you're seeing as you go through all of your picks. And we will, again, put up the notification here that our live chat is open, answering your fantasy football questions all show long. Glad to, no matter what else we're talking about, as long as we're not on the clock, which we might be sometimes, obviously. Love to answer your questions all show long. All right, let's take a look back where we are in the draft. 5th round here, we saw our 3rd quarterback, Kyler Murray, 2nd pick of the round off the board. Josh Jacobs falls into the 5th round. I don't disagree with him falling. I think that I have some concerns over Jacobs. His ADP right now at 39.4. He's obviously fallen a little bit. I'm sorry, that's the 4th round, not the 5th round. Right in line. The pickup of Kenyon Drake there is concerning to me in terms of, are they going to turn to more of a committee backfield with the Raiders this year? There's a pick that I like in Mike Davis in the 5th round. I like his opportunities with Atlanta being the only guy possibly in that backfield there. T. Higgins for the Bengals is a player that I like quite a bit. I like that Bengals offense. There we see Jackson go off the board. Kyle Pitts, another tight end. 6 tight ends off the board already in this draft. Not really the way I like to look at this. To me, if you're not getting one of those top guys, you may as well just forget the tight end spot until quite a bit later. Myles Gaskin, I like that pick at running back there. A couple of more picks to me. Let's see where I'm looking. I like Kenny Golladay on my list here in terms of wide receivers. I really need to get a running back here if possible. Travis Etienne is available. Kareem Hunt, not my favorite, is available. I don't really see. I'm going to look at the cheat sheets here. I don't really see where I'm at, but if I'm not going to take a running back here, I need to make sure that I get one soon. And if I want to get the quarterback I want, which is probably Herbert, I probably can't pass him up in round 7 here. So, again, taking a look at running backs that are available, I may have to take a pop here at Travis Etienne as a little bit of a flyer in this spot based on who's available to me, as I don't really see anybody far beyond him that I want to go with. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go with Travis Etienne as my pick in the 6th round here. Going to be interesting to see what happens there in Jacksonville. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my quarterback after Travis Etienne, and my quarterback here is going to be, I shouldn't say it's either Herbert or Rodgers. Rodgers ranked just ahead of Herbert. I personally like Justin Herbert quite a bit, so I'm going to draft this as though it was my actual draft, and I'm going to go ahead and take Justin Herbert with my 7th round pick, and there he is. Kenny Golladay was taking the pick before me, so I wouldn't have had the chance to get him anyways. All right, again, as we talk about, this is kind of the strategy that I like to roll with. First 6 picks, fill up the running back and wide receiver spots, and then look to see who I can get. Again, tight end, I'm not going to reach there, although it might not be a reach in that round to go for a tight end. I'm not going to take one there. I feel plenty comfortable taking one later on. It's just so difficult to get consistent production at that position. I will roll the dice and see what happens there. I prefer to get that quarterback that I wanted. Travis Etienne is not a player that I've been drafting a lot in mock drafts, but as my 3rd running back there, I took a shot. It's a little bit of a flyer. I don't really like to take flyers until later on in the draft, but I felt like that was the best bet at this point. We will see how Fantasy Pros likes my picks at the end. I've had some mocks that they have seemed to give me a nice grade, and I've had some other ones that they haven't liked so much at all. So that's why we do these. Again, let's let you know about what you see at the bottom of your screen. This is the first of 2 drafts. The next one is a live viewer mock draft. We will roll with as many people as we have. We will take the first 9 people who sign up. If you're interested, drop us a chat and also follow us on our Twitter account. You have to do that in order for me to be able to send you the link as a direct message rather than just give it out to everybody. I want to make sure that the actual people who sign up are the ones who are able to get in on this live viewer mock draft. We'd love to have as many of you as you would like. If we don't get all 10, we will roll with as many as we have. I believe that I can set that up so that the rest of them just go kind of on a auto computer pick, and we will still be able to run through that draft quite nicely, I think. I'm going to take a look on my side just to make sure that everything is in place. Interesting. I don't know what's going on. The website doesn't like me all that much right now, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is a brand new show. It may work out. We may have some speed bumps. We'll see what happens here, but we'll give it our shot. All right, back to the draft. Where are we? 7th round. We see Jamar Chase, a rookie I like a lot for the Bengals. Juju for the Steelers. A lot of quarterbacks went off the board there. So, again, I'm glad that I was able to get mine in that round. That's kind of the way I like to approach things. Let me go ahead and jump over to the chat. I'm going to jump in with a chat here from Kid Cole. Kid Cole looks like he might be a new viewer to our stream. Welcome if you are, Kid Cole. And you say, who is your sleeper this year? Really good question. Tough to identify just one sleeper. Again, in my first 6 picks, I really tend to identify my sleepers and flyers as picks 8 and beyond, considering that first 6 are kind of players that we know. 7 and 8 are usually my quarterback and tight end. And from that point on, I look for sleepers and flyers. I like to draft rookies in the event that they hit. They can really make your team for the season. Think of a guy like Antonio Gibson last year. It's good to draft sleepers who are kind of feeling like they're under the radar, but I like those flyers. If they don't hit, we cut them and we work the waiver wire as the year goes on. I like for the Philadelphia Eagles, I really like Devontae Smith if he's available. My next pick is coming up here, so I'm going to put this chat away, and I'll get back to the rest of that answer. A couple other guys I have in mind. Let me see if I got anybody at tight end that I want to get. I don't really see anybody that needs to stand out right now. I'm going to go ahead and take a wide receiver here. I'm going to take Deebo Samuel in this pick. If my computer agrees with me, I may not because it is not up to speed. Let's see if it happens. I drafted him, but you never know. After Deebo, I am going to go ahead and fill up my tight end spot with a guy that I want to get. See if he pops in there. Show me Deebo. There's Deebo. So far, so good. The guy that I'm targeting here as a tight end in a later round here is Logan Thomas. Again, he might qualify as a sleeper. Logan had a decent year last year. I feel like the Washington football team is in line to have a very decent season. And I kind of like a lot of their prospects, be it Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson. Logan Thomas is the guy that I'm going to fill up my tight end spot with here. And then I will go back to your question again, Kid Cole, talking about other sleepers that I like. Take a look at the players that are left so far, for instance, in this draft. A guy that I like that's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Jets is Michael Carter, the running back for the Jets. They are a rookie. Not too sure where he's going to fall in terms of a pecking order on that team, but I think there's some reasonable chance that he might end up as the guy there as the year goes on. I like going with him. Another rookie running back to take a look at, Trey Sermon for the 49ers. You're looking for players who, if they hit, can give you huge value at the place where you're getting them. I'm looking down the list to see who else I see here. Some other flyers that I really like. I don't know if I consider him a sleeper, but Jalen Hurts, I really love this year as a quarterback. You don't have to draft him that high. Certainly, you're taking a look at a guy like Justin Fields for the Bears. If he ends up playing, he doesn't look like he's going to start the season. And then other wide receivers, let's see who else we've got here. I really like Marvin Jones this year for Jacksonville. I think he's underrated and has a good chance to produce some value. I don't so much like Jalen Waddle for the Dolphins, who we've heard a lot about as a rookie. And I also like Russell Gage with the Falcons, kind of a player to take a shot on here and see what happens without Julio Jones there this year. Let's go ahead and show you talking about the situation in Atlanta. We put this together for our last show, but I think it's worth showing again. Taking a look at what's going on in the situation there in Atlanta. Obviously, Calvin Ridley, we take a look at, without Julio Jones, the significant difference in targets that he saw last year when Julio was not on the field. Obviously, that trade with Julio Jones, a big impact in the fantasy world. On the other side of that, does Julio produce for the Titans like he has in the past? When you compare the targets between Jones and Ridley when they were both on the field last year, and Brown and Davis when they were both on the field, they are fairly similar. So I don't necessarily think that Julio Jones can't have a decent season this year, but I also think that A.J. Brown is still going to be the guy there. I don't expect Julio Jones to suddenly be the number one guy in terms of the passing offense there in Tennessee. Obviously, a little bit more of a running back heavy offense there with the Titans than it was in Atlanta, but I do think that Julio Jones has a decent chance to still be able to put up some nice production there this year. All right, let's go ahead and roll back over to the draft here as we are. We are going through the 10th round right now. Again, I'll put up the notification here. Thank you, Kid Cole, for the question, and glad to have you with us. Look forward to seeing you throughout the season. By all means, join us again. Remind all of you that are watching the live chat is open. We are here for your questions throughout the show. And coming up next, as soon as this first sample draft is done, will be our live viewer mock draft. It is not too late to sign up for that. Sign up on our Twitter. I don't see anybody there yet. If we don't have enough for the first time we run this, we will roll with whatever we have. And we plan on doing another one of these tonight at 11 o'clock as well, 11 o'clock Eastern time for those of you that might miss out on this one. So let's see where we're at. 10th round, I'm on the clock, and let's see if my computer likes me or not. Not sure. It may have actually just made a pick for me. Let's see what pops up here. If it did, I'll just simply take the next guy. Who do I like on the list? I'm going to take a flyer here. James Conner gave me, no problem. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to take a flyer here on Michael Thomas with my next pick. Of course, Michael Thomas is out injured for the New Orleans Saints, and who knows what's going to happen with the quarterback situation there. But if by some chance Michael Thomas does come back healthy in the second half of the year and the quarterback situation gets ironed out, then he's certainly a guy that could produce some very nice value there as a fantasy player. Again, I've already got DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel as my top 3 wide receivers. So I'm not sliding in Michael Thomas as somebody that I need right away. It's a player to stash and see what happens a little bit further down the line. Again, the rest of my players, I had the first pick, so I took Christian McCaffrey. You can't see him on the screen right now. My second running back, I have Darrell Henderson from the Rams. And then the computer took James Conner for me. I would not have probably taken James Conner, but with as many windows as I have open right now on the screen doing this live stream, sometimes when I go back and click on the computer, it doesn't quite do what I want it to do. So nonetheless, I've got James Conner on my screen. Not a problem. All right, taking a look here. Kid Cole stops back in the chat, says, great show. I appreciate that, Kid Cole. My draft is tonight. I'm looking for depth this year. Of course, great luck with your draft. Hope that goes well for you. Would be interested if you want to stop back on our 11 p.m. Eastern show tonight and let us know how that draft went. I would love to see how things go for you. Hopefully you're able to get all those players that you want. And obviously for the rest of you that are watching, once again, the live chat will remain open. After we're done with this first draft, we got a few rounds left, is a live viewer mock draft that you can sign up right now on our Twitter and actually join that draft and draft with us. Ask all the questions that you want throughout that draft as we go through all these picks. The first 9 people who sign up, we will go ahead and roll with. If we don't get that many, we will just do it with whoever we have. And if we don't have enough interest this time, I'll just run another one of these drafts by myself. Again, I will pick the same spot, the 1.01, as a sample draft. We will do a different pick tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time. I'm planning on doing pick 1.06 for that draft. We'll do the same thing. We'll have the first sample draft followed by a live viewer draft afterwards. So by all means, join us in either one of those, and we'll be glad to have you as part of the action. All right, let's see what we've missed since the last pick here. We see Jalen Hurts go off the board. We see Devontae Parker, who is a player that I struggle with every year when it comes to trying to pick, and I don't know how much I like Miami this year. I'm not really on board with Tua Tagovailoa. Same thing with Jalen Waddle. I'm not really on board with them. Michael Pittman, I think, has a decent shot in Indianapolis for getting some nice production. Darnell Mooney, who has struggled for the Bears. Who knows what happens there with that team. I'm going to take a look at who is available to me next. It's pretty much going to be best available for me at this point. I don't need a quarterback. I don't need a tight end. I'm looking for flyers at this point. I'm looking for players that could potentially impact my team throughout the season in a big way if they hit. And again, what I like to do is kind of I try to identify players. I haven't really made a final list out this year, but players that are coming up in different rounds where it seems like they can return some nice value. I'm looking at Russell Gage, a little bit more of a reach here, but I'm going to go ahead and take him in this round because I feel like he is a player who is a decent flyer with some potential there. So that is going to be my next pick. It's not going to be necessarily what Fantasy Pros likes so much in terms of the way they grade my draft, but this is kind of how I'm going about things. It's not necessarily about them. It's kind of how I like to build my team. The next guy I see on the list here, I'm going to go running back since I just went with a wide receiver. I don't really see anybody here that I like as a flyer, So the guy that I'm going to go ahead and take here is J.D. McKissick for the Washington football team. This is a PPR league, so I do feel that he has the potential to return some value there, and I like Washington's potential this year on the offensive side. So I've taken J.D. McKissick as my next pick, and we'll see if he's able to return any nice value throughout the rest of this mock draft. All right, so let's look at what I have so far in my roster, and I think I can actually do this on this screen right here. On the left side of your screen, it may not let me do this, but we'll see what happens. No, I don't want the Los Angeles Rams. I don't know why I did that. Again, with as many screens as I have open, I'm not even going to try it at this point because I'd rather make sure that this stream continues to work. So we're live, and you never know what happens here on TFF Live. You regular viewers, you know that. So these things happen sometimes. At any rate, a few rounds left in the sample draft. And again, we have the live viewer mock draft coming up next. It is not too late to sign up. If you're interested, drop us a note in the chat first and let us know, and then I will look for your information on the Twitter side of things so that I can send you a link. That way we can get things rolling, and we can send those links out just to the people who want to get in. If we don't have enough to fill out, we'll still run this, and we will run it with whoever we have, and if it just ends up being just simply another sample draft, then so be it. But this is kind of the plan with these live mock drafts. We do it based on interest, and we are here for you. So as I always say, we have lots of content. When it comes to talking fantasy football, we'd much rather be talking with you than just talking to you. So feel free to jump in and be a part. And again, we will do another one of these tonight live at 11 p.m. Eastern time. The idea is to do one for the West Coast viewers as well. That's a little bit more in their sweet spot with a 8 p.m. West Coast time. Looks like I'm going to be on the board here soon, so I'm going to hope that my computer agrees with me. This is the 14th round, so I need a defense. Again, looking for defenses that have a decent chance. I like Indianapolis still being on the board as it rolls up to me here. A team that I've been kind of targeting here has been the Miami Dolphins. I feel like they were an underrated defense last year. The New England Patriots have a decent start to the season if it's going to be a streaming defense situation. Or I could go, I'm at the turn, so I'm going to get the defense and the kicker that I want based on whoever's left. It looks like my kicker, I'm going to end up going Miami for these two picks. I'm going to take Miami as my defense, and I'm going to take Jason Sanders as my kicker as long as he's still there. I feel like he was decent last season, and I think Miami's in the same situation again this year. So we will see what my computer allows me to do. I have them both clicked in my queue, so it should work no matter what here. We'll see what happens. Here we go with my pick is next, and it should be Miami popping on your screen. And let's see, did we get it? Or is our screen simply behind? Well, you know what? I shouldn't have clicked. There we go. We're moving right along. Youngoku. Did not pick him, partially because I have no idea how to say his name. That's just a joke. Probably not a good joke anyways. At any rate, the next pick that we should have seen should be Miami, and after that should be Jason Sanders for the Miami Dolphins. 2 Miami picks. There's my Miami defense. And let's just see if we can make this move along a little bit better for us. Probably not, because the computer's not cooperating. Yes, of course, auto pick is turned on because the computer doesn't like me. That's okay. We'll get that situated. All right, go ahead and that's better. Looks like that's been turned off just in time for the draft to be over. All right, so my roster for this sample mock draft, and we're going to see what Fantasy Pros thinks of my efforts. Let's see what kind of a grade that they give me. We will soon find out, but I've clicked on my roster on the left side of your screen. I got Justin Herbert, a guy that I've been getting a lot as my quarterback. Christian McCaffrey was my first pick. Darrell Henderson, my second running back. Wide receivers, I went with DK Metcalf and Keenan Allen. I've got a little bit of a sleeper, I feel, on Logan Thomas at the tight end spot. Deontay Johnson from the Steelers, another receiver. And then if we bypass the kickers and the defense right now, taking a look at the other guys, Deebo Samuel. I ended up taking a flyer on Travis Etienne just because it looked like he was the next guy best available at that time. And here's my grade, and they have given me a B+. Thank you, Fantasy Pros, for not hating me too much on this draft. I do appreciate that. Looking through my players again, James Conner was a pick that they made for me. It was not really the pick that I would have personally made, but that's just how it seemed to work out. Michael Thomas I took there as a flyer to see what happens later on in the season. Then defense and kicker, I went with 2 Miami players. So that is the sample draft. Let me jump back over and let's see here. I got a chat that I will get to from Big Perm 33, welcome. Looks like it might be a new viewer, so thank you for the question, Big Perm 33. Start Fant or Tunyon? I think both of these tight ends are players that can return you some value as we start this season. Obviously, a later draft pick when you're drafting your tight end this year. I like Robert Tunyon between these two players. He had a real nice season last year. I think there's a little bit more clarity in terms of the quarterback spot. When we talk about Denver, we're not sure if it's going to be Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. I certainly think Noah Fant has a chance to have a nice season there for the Broncos, but I like Tunyon with Green Bay. Now that we know that Rodgers is back in the fold, he's a guy, again, I took Logan Thomas where I took him. The other guy, the two guys that I've kind of been looking at in that same area is Thomas and Robert Tunyon. He's a guy that I would be comfortable taking. And then kind of, if I have to play matchups later on, I'm not really a person who looks to take a tight end early unless they happen to fall for me. So Big Perm 33, I appreciate the question. As always, I like to try to give you my opinion, but also back it up with some information. As I always say, whichever guys that you end up drafting or going with there, I do hope they crush it for you this season. And look forward to seeing you on future live streams. Feel free to join us again. All right, let's go ahead and put this chat up. We are here for you, live chat throughout the show, answering your fantasy football questions all show long. We are going to do the second of our live drafts here. And since we did not, it looks like I'm going to do this one as a sample draft again, just checking to see if anybody is ready to go there. No, and I don't see anybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, we're going to play this together. And I'm actually going to be setting this draft up live as we go and see what happens. It may work, it may not, you never know, but let me just go ahead and move on in. Let's see. All right, I've got the Mock Madness Fantasy Draft, PPR. Let's start this draft. Yes, start it with one participant and see what happens. And let's go ahead and get this link on my display screen as well. Hopefully it works. You never know. It may work, it may not. You know what? I changed my mind. I would rather than, because if I do this as just me, it's going to just take computer picks for the rest of the drafters. And you know what? That doesn't help you guys all that much. It's probably more helpful to you if you're wanting to see how people are drafting, to see how actual live people draft. And that is what we were looking at the last one. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that plan. And I'm going to go back to the draft as I just did it. Again, right now I am working with a computer that doesn't like me all that much. So eventually we will start this. So let me try to see. Let's go ahead and sign up for the next. I'm looking for PPR. I'm looking for 10 teams, and that is it. It's going to start in a few minutes. I will close out of the other ones that I just tried to open. Nothing lost there. And let's see how we did if I was able to get the one that I'm looking for. And in the meantime, after we will do that, we'll take another quick look at ADPs just to give you guys a look at where we are. And so it looks like I have successfully got this draft ready to go. It will go as soon as it is full. It's slated in 6 minutes. Quite often these Fantasy Pros drafts actually fill up a little bit faster than that. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. We are going to see if we can get them on our other screen. Big Perm 33, you say, okay, thanks. And absolutely. And I say, no, thank you for being here, as I always do. And again, any of you guys that are new to our stream, if you enjoy what we're doing here, we would love to see you back again. Hit that subscribe button so you get those notifications whenever we have new shows. Feel free to drop us a like. Again, we're still growing as a channel, and all those new subscribers and those likes, they definitely help out the channel a ton. So we definitely appreciate you guys. All right, we've got a chat here from, let me first of all get this brand off the bottom, and let me go ahead and move that banner because we are now into our second draft, which we're going to run that not as a mock live draft for that one. We're going to run that the same as we did the last time. And let's see if I can get that up on the second screen. I will get to your questions, Seth, just shortly here as soon as I get my second screen up and running. And let's see if that is ready for us. We just need a draft board. We should be fine there. Here we go, and there it is. All right, so that is going to be our next draft, 5 minutes before the start of that one. Again, we'll have your questions all throughout that draft. Again, we're drafting the 1.01 spot for this stream. All right, question here. Let me get out of this, and let's go back to Seth. And I'm going to guess, Seth, on your last name is Cloutier, and if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right, actually. I'd love to know if I get that right. I always hope to get these names correctly. I'm going with the same as TJ Cloutier, the famous poker player. Here's your question: Darrell Henderson or J.K. Dobbins? Let's take a look at where these two players are on the ADP right now. Let's see here. Henderson currently, let's see if we can find him on our list. Where do we have him? 44.6. J.K. Dobbins, a little bit higher than that, I believe. 27.0. So in terms of ADP, the draft community so far is going with JK in this one. The difference here is we don't know exactly how this is going to play out with that backfield in LA. So far, with the injury to Cam Akers, it hasn't looked like the Rams have tried to bring in another veteran running back. If that ends up that Darrell Henderson is basically a bell cow there, he's a young player. He's shown some promise. I like Henderson. I don't dislike J.K. Dobbins. You know that they're going to roll with probably Gus Edwards in some sort of a committee, and Lamar Jackson's going to steal a lot of goal line touches. So that's going to lessen his value. But based on ADP, if you have a situation, if you have the choice between those two, you're probably going to take Dobbins because his value is so much higher in terms of the ADP. Either he has fallen. I'm going to go ahead and draft. Let's go ahead and go back over here to the draft real quick. I want to make sure I get the pick I want, just in case the computer doesn't choose me Christian McCaffrey. And there is my first pick. All right, back to you, Seth. Again, keep an eye if you watch through this draft on these two players and where they fall. This is kind of why we do this, is to give you guys a good idea of where these players may be for you. I like Darrell Henderson a lot, but I think you're going to be able to get him at a lower value. And it's very possible, based on whatever pick you have, you may be in a spot where you can actually get both of these guys if you're trying to fill up your running back spots. I don't think it's worth – I wouldn't shy away from J.K. Dobbins. I think he's in line to have a nice season. The end of last season, when Mark Ingram was scratched and it was just Dobbins and Edwards, we really did see nice production out of J.K. Dobbins. So I think if he's there for you, if he falls a little bit based on that ADP and you want to take him, I think go ahead and take him. If you miss on Dobbins and you have a chance to get Henderson later on, I think you're going to do fine with him as well. I do like both of these players. Again, as I always say, obviously, Seth, thank you for the question. And whichever guy that you end up going with there in your draft, I do hope they crush it for you and look for good things throughout your season. Thank you for the question. We will remind the rest of you that are watching that our live chat is open throughout the entire show. We are here for you. So any questions, no matter if we're talking about something else, feel free to drop us a chat. And we will get to those as soon as we can. Looking back over here at our live mock draft that we have going on right now, we'll get rid of that banner. We are drafting a 10-team PPR draft, pick 1.01. This is our first show of the night. We will do a second show tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time as a live viewer mock draft, where you, the viewer, will actually be able to join in this mock draft with us. We will do that again at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Kind of the idea there is to do another show for the West Coast, which is a little bit more in their wheelhouse in terms of that time. So if you'd like to join us again, we will do that again, 11 p.m. Eastern time. All right, start of the first round, I've taken Christian McCaffrey. No shocker there. Devontae Adams goes a little higher in this draft. Derrick Henry falls all the way to round 6. Pick 6, which is not so much expected here. If we take a look at the running back average draft position, Henry at 3.6. So somebody there got a very nice value. Dalvin Cook and McCaffrey, of course, we know where they are. Devontae Adams, he is 12.5 on the ADP. These are Yahoo's ADPs. Again, he went 4th here. This is a PPR draft. I believe, even though Hill and Diggs currently, these are current ADPs as of tonight, updated. I feel Adams is the #1 receiver. I think this ADP is a little bit low because of a lot of this mock draft season. We didn't know if Aaron Rodgers was going to be in that roster for that team this year or not. To me, Devontae Adams is the top guy there. We see that reflected in his, again, these are, this is a live draft with actual people. These are not computer picks. So you see me, the fantasy follow, in the first pick. The rest of these drafters, they are live people who are drafting right along in real time. So this is not just a random computer. We do this so you guys can take a look at how these drafts are playing out. And again, at 11 p.m. Eastern time, we will do another show tonight where we will have you, the live viewer, be able to join the draft and actually draft with us. So feel free to join us again at 11 p.m. Eastern time as we go through Mock Madness TFF Live. First round, Aaron Jones in the 7th spot. Saquon Barkley has been moving up that ADP, and we've seen Austin Eckler, especially in PPR formats, be a player who is liked. He goes at number 9 here. No surprises. Tyreek Hill, I would expect a running back to go next here. I'm expecting Travis Kelce to be this next pick here from this number 10 person who picked Tyreek Hill. I don't see another running back close enough to this top here unless they'd like Nick Chubb. I like Nick Chubb a lot, but I think this person's probably going to go with Kelce. No. Going with 2 wide receivers in the first 2 rounds. Okay, this is why we do these, because you take a look at different strategies. I talked a little bit. There goes Kelce. I talked a little bit about my strategy in these drafts. My first 6 picks, I will enter a draft expecting to take 3 receivers and 3 running backs if it is a 2 receiver, 2 running back format, which is what we have here. I like to fill that up and have extra players there to give me depth, and then attack my tight end and quarterback after that. Let me see. I've got a couple of other chats here, so I'm going to go ahead and let me see. Seth, I will hit your chat real quick as this pick comes up on me. Let's get your first one. I'll try to sneak it in here before I have to make this next pick. You say, I kind of wanted to trade for a better flex. In the 10-man PPR, it is QB Wilson, RB1 Saquon, RB2 Mixon. Then you have Adams, McLaurin, I like both, and Darrell Henderson. I like your players there. Of anybody, I'm hesitant this year on Joe Mixon because that offense seems going to be so pass-heavy in Cincinnati. So I think there's a possibility that if you wanted to try, because Joe Mixon is going to be a valued player for a lot of fantasy football managers, to me, that's a potential that you might be able to put into some sort of a deal and see if somebody wants Joe Mixon, and then you might get an upgrade like a 2-for-1 to where you have more options in that flex. And I do see your follow-up, Seth. I will get to those next, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and make this next pick. Let me just take an eye on what's going on. In terms of players that I'm looking at that are sitting there for me right now, Calvin Ridley is not, I can't imagine will still be there by the time I actually get to make this pick. Let's see if my computer is agreeing with me. It looks like we are. Okay. I see Justin Jefferson, Darren Waller. I am not taking Darren Waller in the second round. I do not want to take, if I don't get Travis Kelce, Darren Waller is a player that would have to fall, or George Kittle. It's so hard to get production at the tight end spot. I am not reaching for these guys in these early rounds unless they fall to me. Travis Kelce I would get in a spot like this person did in the second pick of the second round, but I'm not going to go for Waller here. If Justin Jefferson is still there, he's going to be my pick. If he's not, I've got A.J. Brown, I've got Keenan Allen. And if I want to, I like the way this is shaping up for me because I see another player that I would love to take next after those 2. So I'm going to try to take 1 receiver and 1 running back, provided that that player I'm looking for is still there. And that player coming up that I'm looking for is Najee Harris. He is sitting at 24 on the rankings that are in front of me. If he is there, I'm going to go after him. There goes Justin Jefferson. All right, so I'm going to take a receiver and a running back here in these 2 picks. My choices are between A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen. In the last sample, I took Keenan Allen. This time I'm going to take A.J. Brown. Similar situations for both. I think they're both stud players. And this spot I love in the PPR draft. It's going to be Najee Harris for me as my 3rd round pick. I think that there are question marks in Pittsburgh in terms of the offensive line. But if things work out with that team in a bell cow role, a player who can see some targets out of the backfield, I think that Najee Harris is a player who can produce for you very well. And again, if you look at his ADP right now, it is 18.3, and I actually got him at 21, so that is a little bit of a fall, some nice value. I'm very happy with those picks through my 3rd round. All right, so let's go back over to the chat, and let me go back to Seth here, and I will go ahead and look again at your original. So yeah, in terms of your flex, obviously, if you have 3 running backs that you told me about there, and then I see your second one that follows up with the other players that you have. I like Darrell Henderson as a flex. I think you're in good shape there. I think based on what happens this season, you could very possibly roll with Darrell Henderson as your RB2. What I would think here as your possibilities are, if you don't feel like you need to make this trade before the season starts, I think this is something you could think about going into the start of the season. That'll give you the opportunity to really see what LA does with Henderson. If he starts out that season and you see a true bell cow role for him, then you can feel he's going to return RB2 value for you. I think that means Mixon is a guy that you can feel comfortable in shipping away at that point. And I see you say you have Josh Jacobs, Robbie Anderson, Antonio Brown, Nelson Aguilar, Xavier Jones. I think Josh Jacobs is a question mark this year. But again, it's somebody that you could plug in. Let's say you were to ship away Joe Mixon and Henderson becomes your RB2. Jacobs, based on matchups and how you end up seeing, his usage this year, is a guy that you can slide in at flex. You say this is your bench. And then you followed up in saying that you were also scared of Mixon. Yeah, so to me, again, like I say, I'm going to go back to your original chat for those of you that didn't see it. This is where I talk about fantasy football is all about opinions. And by all means, do I not feel my opinion is the only one out there. So I always try to give you my thoughts and then back them up with as much information as possible. For those of you that have viewed our live streams in the past, talking about matchup plays and things like that, I look for as much extra information as possible. If this was my roster, who can I get the most value back for in a trade in terms of those players? It's going to be probably Joe Mixon. And then do you have players that can slot in? If you went the other direction, let's say, and you tried to chip off Darrell Henderson and stuck with Mixon, you're not going to probably get as much value back from a Henderson. Josh Jacobs is a name. You might get more value back from Josh Jacobs in a trade. So to me, yeah, probably Mixon and Jacobs are two players that you can think about trading away and possibly improving your team if it's another receiver that you're looking for. But the key to trades, in my opinion, in any league is, you're not worried about who wins the trade in terms of player for player or how that works out. You want to improve your team. If you give up a running back, if you got depth at running back and you need more wide receivers, look for a team that has depth at wide receiver and needs running back. Craft a trade that helps both of you. It gives you a better chance of getting that trade and a better chance of getting what you need as your season goes along. Don't worry about, did I win the trade? Did he get more than me? Don't worry about that. If your team is better than it was before, that's all that matters. I like your idea there with Mixon. He's a player that worries me. It looks like I'm on the clock, so let me go back to that, and then we will continue with you, Seth. But, yeah, I think Mixon's a person that you could possibly look about trading there. All right, how do we do? We're looking at I want to get a wide receiver on my next pick if possible, unless the right players are there. I'm going to probably get one of each. 3 tight ends are already off the board. I'm going to go ahead and take J.K. Dobbins. He's available to me here. Slot him right in. I think I got a nice lineup of 3 running backs here to start this team off at this point. I like this a lot. At the next spot, I'm going to take a wide receiver. Let's see who's available. DJ Moore, Julio Jones, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Lockett. Don't like him at all. I'm going to go ahead and go with Deontay Johnson. No, I'm going to take Julio because his ADP is so much higher. I'm just going to take the value there. Even though I really like Johnson a lot this year, in that particular pick, the ADP was significantly different enough that I'm taking Julio. Actually, now, okay. Lesson for everybody out there. This is when you have a pick that you have to make and you haven't looked over things significantly enough. Why did I just pick Julio when I already have A.J. Brown? That was not a good pick. I don't like it at all, and I'm upset with myself now. So, hey, we're live. This is what happens, but this is why we do mock drafts. So, yeah, in that situation, that's probably not a good pick on my part. But listen, if this was my team, I am now stuck with them. So that's why we do this, and there we have it. All right, let me go back and close this up with Daniel Orton jumps in. I appreciate that. These things happen, but that's why we do these shows. I'm just like everybody else. Sometimes the picks, I get a little ahead of myself. Who knows? Seth, I like what you're thinking there. I think that what you can do is probably, again, wait till the season gets going, find out where you're at, and see. This is probably not a decision that you really have to make beforehand. Let me see what you said here. You were thinking maybe an Antonio Gibson or a CEH type player. I love Antonio Gibson this year. I would love to get him on as many rosters as I can. Taking a look at the ADPs to see where they fall. Gibson right now is 18.5 and Mixon is 22.4. I'll tell you this. If it was me and I could do a Joe Mixon for Antonio Gibson, ask for a lower down player to equal out the trade if you feel like you need to get a little bit more, if that's not enough. But to me, if I could get Gibson for Mixon straight up, I would take that trade all day. I'm much higher on Antonio Gibson going into the season than I am on Joe Mixon. I would love that trade. But I think you're definitely looking along the right lines here, Seth. I like the way you're thinking. Stop back and let us know how that works out for you. I am interested if you're able to get that deal done. But if you're thinking Mixon for Gibson and you can make that happen, I love that a lot. And I think that's the guy I would prefer to have on my team. Again, Seth, I thank you for the chat. And again, let's jump in and remind you that we are here for live chat all show, even though we have other content. Always drop us a chat. We will try to answer those questions as soon as we can. We love talking fantasy football with you guys. And Seth, if you are a new viewer, again, we look to see you again on future live streams. Thank you for being here with us. All right, let's go ahead and go back over to the draft that we are currently, again, this is a live mock draft with actual real live people. This is not a computer that are making these picks. As you can tell, I'm also not a computer, as I made a absolutely terrible pick with Julio Jones in the fifth round. Wouldn't have been a bad pick if I had taken Keenan Allen with my second pick instead of A.J. Brown, but I didn't. And I don't want two receivers from the same team, especially when that team is Tennessee and a run-first offense. So that pick stunk. But, of course, my other three picks I love. I love where I'm at with my running backs right now. I'm going to have the chance to probably get one more receiver here with my next pick, which is on its way. And it looks like I'm on the clock, so I'm going to look and see who I have. Let me see what's available to me right now. I do see some running backs available to me, but I don't really want to go that way. This is pick 60. I might end up reaching a little bit. So I am actually going to I want to get my quarterback in the 7th round. I'm going to reach a little bit and take Chase Claypool with this pick at the next spot. I do like the Pittsburgh passing offense. I want to get him on teams where I can. His ADP was 70, so that is a little bit of a reach. But ahead of them are a bunch of running backs, and I feel good about my running backs. I don't want to go 4 at this point. I'm filling out my quarterback next, as I tend to do, unless there's a tight end I like. That tight end will probably be there. Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert are two guys that are in line in the area where I like to take quarterbacks, and that is going to be Aaron Rodgers for me in this draft. Again, I like to take my first 6 picks, filling up 3 receivers, 3 running backs, so that I have 1 extra in each slot, and then I try to fill up my quarterback and my tight end next. That is just my draft strategy. I like to share that. Perhaps it falls in line with what you like to do, or perhaps it's a little different. But again, this is kind of the way I like to proceed through these drafts, and then look for sleepers and flyers after that 8th round. So that's kind of where I'm at this spot. I'm happy with Aaron Rodgers at my pick. Russell Wilson went after me. I will say, I know that, Seth, you said you have Russell Wilson on your roster this year. He, in particular, is a player that I am not going to draft this year. I'm very wary of Russell Wilson. To me, the second half of last season was concerning in the drop-off there. But combine that with the fact of what we saw in the offseason, where it seemed like Russell Wilson was not happy with his situation in Seattle. It seems like they've smoothed it over, but where there's smoke, there's fire. I just think there's too many question marks, in my opinion, on Russell Wilson this year. So I'm straying away from him as much as possible. I love the pick of Rodgers, and the other guy who I've been taking a lot of mock drafts, who we just saw go in the 8th pick of the 7th round, is Justin Herbert. Both of those guys fall right in line with my strategy where I like to take my quarterbacks. So I have a feeling I'm going to end up with those guys a lot unless other quarterbacks fall. Now, there are quarterbacks who almost fell far enough for me to get them there. Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, I would have taken with that 6th pick if they had gotten there. And there's some argument that I could have taken them earlier. But nonetheless, I got them where I got them. And we move on. And the next place that I'm going to try to solidify for my team is going to be tight end. Based on the ADP, it will be a little bit more of a reach, but that's okay because there are guys that I want to get. And the 2 guys that I look at in this area are Logan Thomas and Robert Tonyan. Thomas showing an ADP on Fantasy Pros, which is the platform I'm using right now, of 84. That's going to be right around where I am right now. I'm at 80, so that's very reasonable. And Robert Tonyan is at 94. I'm going to go ahead and take Logan Thomas with this pick. Even though I took him in the other draft that I did, I'm going to take him again. I think I'm going to end up with him on a lot of teams this year. He just does fall in line with the spot of where I want to get my tight ends. So again, there we go, Logan Thomas. I've filled up my tight end spot, and now it's time to look for flyers. The first guy that I see on this list, flyers that I'm looking for, Devontae Smith from Philadelphia. He is in line here because of my stupid pick of Julio Jones and my running backs that I like. I'm going to go for Devontae Smith here. If he hits as a big-time number 1 wide receiver for the Eagles this year, then he's going to have huge value for my team. And this is kind of the way I like to approach these drafts. Once you get past that 8th round and you fill up those spots, we're not talking about just taking best player available anymore. You can go ahead and reach for guys that have the potential to really impact your team, like a player like Antonio Gibson did last year. You still want to keep in mind their ADP. You kind of want to take them in the right area. You don't have to reach for somebody if you can get them later. But for me, Devontae Smith was a guy that I liked there. I don't know what his ADP is right now, but I feel like it probably was somewhere in that range. Let's see if I have it on my sheet here. No, 115.6. So that was a little bit of a reach. That's a Yahoo ADP. The ADP on Fantasy Pros where I'm drafting was probably slightly different. That's probably why he popped up a little bit higher. But nonetheless, we got him, and we'll see what he does for my team. Beyond that, we're looking at guys. I got a long ways to go before my next pick, but we're looking at other possible flyers that I like. You're talking about a guy like Trey Sermon for the 49ers, a rookie running back. If things were to work out there, I really like from the New York Jets, Michael Carter. Michael Carter just went there in the 5th pick of that round. So if I hadn't taken Devontae Smith, that is the player that I would have taken with that pick. But I already felt really good about my running backs, and so therefore I wanted to solidify with a flyer in the wide receiver area. There goes Trey Sermon. We just talked about him. I like Ronald Jones coming up here, who's another player, if you look on the left side of your screen, that is in the realm of the next few picks. I like him over Leonard Fournette in terms of Tampa Bay. He's a player that's draftable in this area in terms of wide receivers. Corey Davis to me is a flyer for the Jets. It's not that I loved Corey Davis, but it's possible that he ends up being the #1 guy in the passing ability there. Marvin Jones is also coming up shortly. Marvin Jones I like for the Jacksonville Jaguars as potentially a guy who kind of could be, along with DJ Chark, the possible top guy there in that passing offense. So those are 2 receivers that I'm looking at. Tight ends, I'm probably good. We'll just see what happens. We got a few picks away. Again, we will remind you that we have another one of these mock draft shows coming up at 11 p.m. Eastern time tonight. That is the idea is to do also one of these for the West Coast viewers. In that show, we will also offer a live viewer mock draft where the second of these drafts, we will allow you to sign up and actually draft right along with us. So if you're able to join us, by all means, jump on in, and we will see you at 11 p.m. Eastern time. About 2 hours from now. So pretty much in a nice little slot there to try a couple more of these. And we've got another pick coming up shortly here. Let's see who we can get. I'm going to go ahead and look at another running back here. I'm going to take Ronald Jones because he is available. I don't see any other great flyers there in front of me. Marvin Jones there, he goes off the board. Corey Davis has gone off the board. So we've lost a couple of those potential receivers that I liked. I do see Michael Pittman for the Colts there. I'm probably going to take him with this next pick. Again, we are at round 10. So Ronald Jones is going to be my pick here. I do see on the board Jalen Hurts for the Eagles. I am not normally a player that takes 2 quarterbacks, but I'm strongly considering taking Jalen Hurts here because I feel like he's going to be that good this year that it might be worth it. I'm going to pass on him here. Just because I'm not going to do a mock draft here with a second quarterback. But my pick here is going to be Michael Pittman from the Indianapolis Colts, a player who has been injured in the past. Let's see, I'm reading the report here right now. Didn't really get a chance to read that full report and share it with you. But nonetheless, there's a player that I'm taking as a possible flyer. If for some reason I get back to that 12th round pick, and Jalen Hurts is still there. As we see, most of the teams in this league have quarterbacks. The only one who doesn't have a quarterback is this player, looks like Scholes88, who's picking in the 3rd spot. We'll see what happens if he rolls back through and he takes Hurts. If he doesn't, I may take him because I think even though there's no need to take a second quarterback, I think there's enough upside that I would like to have him on my roster. We'll see what happens there. I'm not looking at a lot of other players as I'm looking at my sheet that I'm in love with in terms of who is up next here. I see like Jalen Reagor, who is a possibility. Again, another flyer that could end up being a top guy. I see Rondale Moore for the Cardinals. But in terms of ADP on the left side of the screen there, players that are in line that I feel like I should take. I will tell you who I will take in this draft, and that is Chuba Hubbard. I want to have the handcuff to Christian McCaffrey in this situation. Not really a guy that's big on handcuffing, but because of McCaffrey's injury last year and the fact that it does look like Chuba Hubbard has a good chance to be a nice running back as a rookie if he were needed, I am going to take him in this draft. I'm not going to worry that somebody else in this draft is listening to me right now to steal that player from me. But Chuba Hubbard will be a player that I will take before the end of this draft. So again, I have 12 and 13 coming up, and then 14 and 15 most likely are going to be my defense and my kicker. So I've got 2 choices to make. And as we look at my roster composition right now, let's see, who do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs right now, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers right now. So I don't really need another wide receiver. Who did I just say? Chuba Hubbard's going to be my next running back. And believe it or not, I am actually going to take Jalen Hurts if he's available to me. Nope, Jalen Hurts is not available to me. He gone. So let's see. Who do I want? I want to take Russell Gage if he's still available. Will be my next pick. I think he has a chance at seeing some nice value in that offense there in Atlanta. A lot of mixed feelings on Gage, but he's going to be my selection. And then after that, I'm going to go and handcuff my running back by taking Chuba Hubbard. As soon as I find him, he's much farther down the list. Way farther down the list. Where is he? Well, I might not find him by the time this pick has to be in. There he is, Chuba Hubbard. We'll go ahead and take him just to protect ourselves, just in case there are any issues there with Christian McCaffrey. And if there aren't, then by all means, we can always just cut him and replace him off of the waiver wire. We're going to try, and there it is. Pick should be in. We should be good. All right, let me jump back over here. I see a chat here from Kid Cole. And first, let's make sure my Chuba Hubbard pick happened. Yes, it did. All right, Kid Cole jumps in and says, I have the 3rd pick tonight. All right, Kid Cole, you're going to get a very nice running back to start off your season, should you want them. Definitely, again, taking a look at the board in terms of ADP, you're looking at McCaffrey, Cook, Henry as the first 3 picks. You're most likely going to have either Dalvin Cook or Derrick Henry. And should you wish to go with another guy like Kamara, you certainly have that choice. With the 3rd pick, when you come around the corner, that means your 2nd pick is going to be number 18. So if we look at number 18, other players that are in line, should you want to go with a wide receiver next at the number 18 spot, you're looking at very possibly Calvin Ridley or DeAndre Hopkins being in your options. To me, that's a great start when you're talking about players of that caliber to your league. And then you're going to come around the corner and you're going to have pick 23 after that. So you can certainly, if you're going up PPR, you want to go receiver heavy, you're going to be able to back that up with a guy like, you could even get probably both of them, Ridley, Hopkins, but you got a Jefferson, you got a Metcalf, A.J. Brown, all those players in line. And should you want to go with a running back in your next spot there, Austin Eckler will most likely be gone, but you're looking at guys potentially available like a Dobbins will probably be there. I'm not in love with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he'll probably be there. I don't think you're going to see any of those other guys still available, but you've got some decent choices there. So, Kid Cole, good luck with that, and jump back on our 11 o'clock show and let me know how it goes. I would love to hear from you. All right. Thank you again for the question. We got a couple more picks to make here to finish off this draft, and that's our defense, and that's our kicker. So I'm scrolling down looking for my people here and who's available to me. I'm probably not going to get to make this pick myself because my computer doesn't like me all that much. Too many screens open. This is how it goes. It's probably going to auto pick Jamar Jefferson, running back for Detroit. Why did the computer pick me a running back when I don't have a defense or a kicker yet? So thank you, computer, for that. Auto pick is on. Beautiful. This is really going well at this point. Grinding to a close in this first show. Nonetheless, I have no kicker on this team. So thank you, Fantasy Pros, for that. I really appreciate that. I would have taken a kicker and a defense there. I don't know why. I'm thinking it's possible that I accidentally clicked Jamar Jefferson into my queue when I was trying to draft Chuba Hubbard. That's all right. This is a mock draft. Don't make that same mistake in your real draft, or you will be very unhappy with yourself. Fantasy Pros, they don't dislike my draft all that much. They gave me a B+, 87 out of 100. I'm okay with that. Looking at my team, as you see the rundown there, Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones. Not what I wanted. It happens. My mistake. Logan Thomas, flyer, tight end spot. J.K. Dobbins, I'm really happy with him in my flex. I've got Chase Claypool there. I've got Devontae Smith. See if he returns some value for a wide receiver from the Eagles. Ronald Jones from the Bucks. Michael Pittman from the Colts. Russell Gage. Chuba Hubbard to handcuff my Christian McCaffrey. And then I don't have a kicker because I'm sure that was my fault. And Jamar Jefferson, who I have never heard of from the Detroit Lions, that's not going to help me out much. So if this were a real league, I would probably be cutting him as soon as this draft was over, if I could. At any rate, that's the mock draft. We are through. We did 2 mock drafts at the 1.01 spot here. We appreciate you being with us. We're going to do another one of these tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time. We will again do 2 mock drafts. The first of them will be a sample draft, and the second one will be a live viewer mock draft where you yourself can join in and draft with us and ask questions as you go. And of course, our chat will be open the entire show so that you can go ahead and whatever you have to say, join in the conversation. We'll be glad to hear from you. Again, TFF Live Mock Madness, we thank you for joining us tonight. Join us back at 11 p.m. Eastern time for another of our Mock Madness live streams. If you have not had your draft yet, good luck. If you have, I hope it went well. But either way, good luck in fantasy. We'll see you next time.